Hey there, Brady here with your daily tennis lesson. So we're looking at power sources this week at DTL. I think all of you out there love the idea of trying to add a little more power to your game. And I just want to run through a week focused on how to gain a little bit more power. Today we're going to focus on the legs. And I know my audience, a lot of you out there understand that your legs are going to help you generate power. But I want to just specifically look at the forehand and the serve today to figure out why and how the legs generate power. Okay, so the idea of the kinetic chain. I think you've all heard that, if not all of you, most of you, that the kinetic chain is this driving force that starts from the ground up. It literally starts underneath your shoe. It's a connection to the ground that works its way up through your body and finally makes its way to the racket connecting to the tennis ball. So you can obviously see that my legs are that initial connection to the ground, my feet and my legs, all right? So when we're looking at a forehand, we love this idea that we're trying to be a spring. You know, if I squeezed a spring down really tight in my fingers and then let that go, you can imagine how that thing expands out and gains some thrust, so to speak. And that's how we want to visualize the legs working on a really solid forehand swing. If I go from a really nice bent position in that right knee on that outside leg, and in this position I consider myself that pressed down coil, the idea to gain power up through the shot and ultimately, you know, into the tennis ball is to release that coil, which means this idea that I'm sitting into my legs and lifting up and out. And you know, I think you watch enough pro tennis, you get the idea that the pros use their legs really, really well. It's just still surprising to me around the club how often I will see players that still focus too much on just the racket and the ball. And you can see as I'm rehearsing that, I'm not utilizing my lower body. I'm going to actually hit a forehand right now without the use of my legs. Therefore, without that feeling that I've pressed that coil down trying to explode up to the ball, and just notice the lack of athleticism here. I might very well make this shot, but even with, you know, kind of some semblance of a forehand, a turn through the ball and a follow through, the limit to how much power I can hit that forehand with is huge. All right, so that feeling that I want to stomp down or press down on that outside leg to drive me up into the ball is that initial feeling that I'm going to get some power on my forehand. So let's have a look at that where I engage that right leg. Yeah, way different. And again, I'm not here trying to swing as hard as I can. I'm trying to feel a difference between having my legs involved and the opposite effect, which would just be swinging my racket alone to the ball. Let's take a look at that in slow motion. Yeah, and that's just such an important idea. Power is a very important part of the modern tennis game. The legs into those ground strokes, and we'll see it on the backhand. I'll go ahead and have Mark drop me a backhand. The direction with which I'm going at that ball on the backhand slightly different, but you're still going to notice that I'm going to put some weight really into that front leg, and if I left it there, it's like I'm leaving that coil pressed down. I want to feel myself stand up from that position to gain some power into the shot. Okay, can't stress that enough. Go from that seated position to that lifted position to mimic the coil idea. Okay, now, so we obviously know, same thing with the serve. You know, you do not see, there's still one player in the history of the game, Shang Shalkin. Shang Shalkin served with pretty straight legs. Somehow had a good career. Everybody else that you see, when they are going to go up and hit the ball, want to get to the most extended position possible. That's why when I tell people I work in tennis, play tennis, oh, you must have a great serve. Right, because of the reach. But any player that's not my height that still wants a great serve needs to maximize reach. Is that going to come from a straight-legged position where reach is severely limited to just what the arm is doing? Or are we going to engage this idea of coiling the legs, sitting them down to spring up to the ball, ultimately probably getting off the ground, and adding height to our reach? That in turn will create power. So let's go ahead and have a look at just a couple serves here. We're noticing the legs helping me work up into a high contact point on my serve. Let's go one more there. Check this out in slow motion. Just honestly can't imagine a serve without a decent amount of knee bend pressing me from the ground up to go get contact, because I can just assume that my serve's going to have such a limited power to it that it's not going to be the effect that I want against my opponent, okay? So, yes, all in a nutshell, the legs are so important in terms of power. Get that idea of that coil or that spring sitting down. That's you as you bend your legs, whether it's ground strokes, serves, whatever, and releasing that coil is your body going up to create power into contact, okay? That's all I got for you today. Hope that was super helpful. Please click like below this video, and if you have not subscribed to our channel yet, please do so, as well as check out the description in this video below me. You're going to find the link to 3 free courses that Mark and I have put together. I think you'll find those really helpful as well. All right, so until next time, be well. We'll see you soon at Daily Tennis Lesson.